Hello everyone, this is Business Incorporated on Channels Television. I am BC Adebayo. Coming up on today's show, South Africa's central bank expected to cut its benchmark interest to 6.5% in September, and Ghana's central bank raises the minimum capital required for banks to $90.2 million. Plus, Algeria's new government plans to introduce Islamic finance and develop its stock market. Well, let's hit the markets, beginning from Africa, where the South African stock market and the Egypt Stock Exchange were treading waters at intraday, down 0.23% and 0.38% each. Nigeria's all-share index is trending 0.05% higher at intraday, while the Kenyan Bourse closed up 0.26% on Tuesday. And in the Middle East, shares of Saudi Arabia's top food producers, Savola and Almarai, fell on Wednesday after Savola said it was selling a small stake at the dairy maker, while Dana Gas strengthened in Abu Dhabi. The Riyadh index was down 0.1%, with Savola down 1.9% at intraday. Qatar's index fell 0.52% after hitting a 52-month closing low on Tuesday. And in Dubai, the index is the only one in the green at intraday at 3,654.61 points. And in Europe, the stocks pulled back today as London-listed shares sold off, while losses for Apple suppliers helped push the regional benchmark towards its first loss in 6 sessions. Investors are also reacting to the Bank of America's Jamie Dimon's description of the Bitcoin as a fraud. Well, let's bring in DWTV Channels TV financial correspondent Orich Batts for details. Many thanks for joining us, Orich.
Hi.
So, Jamie Dimon of the Bank of America has called Bitcoin a fraud, and this is just as China sets out to shut down Bitcoin exchanges. What's the thinking about Bitcoin from the traders and the regulators in Frankfurt?
Well, first of all, the people listened to what Jamie Dimon said. The Bitcoin price is going down in the market, and I think a lot of people here are also skeptical, like Jamie Dimon is. They're seeing that the Bitcoin price has risen fivefold, almost fivefold, since the beginning of the year, and that smells like a big bubble that is being created there. But one has said that before, when the Bitcoins have risen in value more than other market instruments, and the Bitcoin now is around record highs. The Bundesbank here, which is part of with not only the central bank, but is also a banking supervisory authority arm, it warns consumers not to put their money into Bitcoins. Their money should be not a speculative instrument, but something which contains and maybe improves the value over the time, and they don't see Bitcoins as such. And the financial supervisory authorities here also warn that Bitcoins, of course, make it possible for criminals to mask their actions in financial transactions, and thus further all sorts of criminal activity. And they don't like the intransparent nature of this kind of business. Having said that, the technology on which Bitcoins are based, which makes them possible, blockchain, that's something that many people here see as a future tool in the financial markets, and perhaps an alternative to traditional trading places like this exchange right here where I'm standing. And the Deutsche Börse, the operator of this exchange, and the Bundesbank are indeed working on a blockchain project together at the moment.
The International Energy Agency believes that Europe has helped push the global oil demand growth. What sectors of the European economy are leading in this regard?
I think there'll be pretty well all sectors, because the European economy is behind this push. The consumers are coming back in many parts of Europe, and in Germany the consumers are spending as much and are in such a good spending mood as never before. And the industry is also going quite well. European growth is also recovering, and German growth is very strong. And when you look at the analysis where the oil demand is coming from in Europe, it's I saw one analysis which says 39% are transport, that is mobility on the street, cars, trucks, commercial, private, a very large factor. And here in Germany, I know a lot of homes are heated with oil, with a kind of diesel oil, and that's in demand. And then industry is the next biggest chunk. 26% is consumed by industry. Petrochemical industry, 9% and 17% the rest. And if you look at this foam thing here on my microphone, for example, that's made of oil. It's a part of the chemical industry which uses oil for so many things that it produces.
Yes, indeed. Now, just before I let you go, Orich, the ECB chief, Mario Draghi, is proud of the euro area labour market, while Mr. Juncker, the European Commission chief, is touting economic and confidence rebound in the region. Are these sentiments transmitting into the equities market?
I think not directly into the share prices or equity prices, bond prices. They're not that much move today. If you look at the DAX, it's just nudging up slightly. The same picture in the Euro Stoxx 50. It's going down a little by a quarter percentage points. The Bund, that is the Bund future, which indicates the trend for the fixed income on the German 10-year bond side, the Bund is going down slightly, and that means that the yield is rising slightly to 0.15%. The euro is basically steady this week at just around $1.20. So the remarks aren't moving the market, but of course people are seeing that Mario Draghi, and pointing to a stronger labor market, is looking at this as justification for his record-breaking accommodative monetary policy. Jean-Claude Juncker, he's making a splash with his call for an all-in Eurozone, that is, almost making it mandatory for EU countries to become members of a Eurozone. A lot of people don't want to, some aren't ready yet, and that's certainly something that's being controversially looked at the moment.
Thanks a lot, Orich, for those updates, and we'll see you again tomorrow.